Hey there, friends. Freedom Now. Freedom Now. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law. On today's show, we're going to talk just briefly about some news, and then I'm going to go right into your issues. Okay, this is our Freedom Now Q&A live show. Thank you so much for being with me as you're coming into this live session on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. Say hello. And Facebook. Say hello and Freedom Now. Let me know how you're feeling today. I hope you guys had a terrific weekend with your family and friends. Type in Freedom Now. We're reachable at McBean Law. We're a full service immigration law firm located in White Plains, New York, but we work virtually with clients all across the United States. And we're doing some amazing things, and I'm so proud to be part of this team. We're changing lives. We're opening doors for people, guys. The way I view our work, it's we open the door. We help to open the door, and so we're reachable at 914-898-9488. Thank you so much for being here. Just type in Freedom Now because that's certainly what we believe in. We believe in legal immigration, freedom now, peace, and experience. They all go together. They all go together, guys. So, whatever feels good to you, just type in that keyword right now and let me know that you are alive and well and you're excited about this show. We have a lot going on. You could stay plugged in by certainly subscribing to my channel here on YouTube at McBean Immigration TV and join in our newsletter. Join our newsletter, friends. We each week we send out terrific stories and immigration news and tips for you, right? To get you through whatever that issue is. We try to hone in on that issue as you ask us all these questions. So get on our newsletter list. You can subscribe today at mcbeanlaw.com/subscribe. Thank you for those of you who were with me on Saturday. I popped up on Saturday and we had a terrific Q&A session. Now let's go ahead and dive right into just a couple of things regarding the news. First of all, last week you saw a lot in the news about the fact that the birthright citizenship debate occurred, so to speak, or oral arguments occurred last week at the U.S. Supreme Court level. And I have not had any time to listen to the clips from the argument, but from what I have been reading in the news, it sounded like it went extremely well from the standpoint of conservative judges opening up their minds. They opened up the mind, right? And they were not intimidated by President Trump's appearance, rare and unusual appearance at the courthouse. I've seen all these memes on TikTok, but in any event, he was there, and apparently, I heard that I read that it just didn't. They just weren't moved by it, and they still asked tough questions, and for which the responses from the government were weak. Okay, and so some folks are saying that it looks good, meaning that it's unlikely that the Supreme Court is going to change our birthright citizenship rules and laws in our system. They're just they don't seem open to it, but we'll know in June, right, when we get that decision. So let's continue to stay hopeful on that front. The second issue is this, and I'm going to go into my screen here on McBean Immigration TV and on Facebook and share with you information from the State Department about the fact that they're going to screen more people. During the visa application process, they're going to do more social media screening. Okay. They issued just a few days ago, actually. Well, they said effective March 30th, the Department of State will expand online presence review. okay, to include applicants from additional non-immigrant visa categories or classifications. And they have the A3, the C3, then they have the H3, H4, G5. K1, okay? Those for those of you who are going through the fiance visa process, they will be screening your social media, the K2, K3, Q, R1, R2, ST, and U visas as well. It also says these are in addition to the H-1B applicants and their dependents and the FM and J student and exchange visitor visa applicants already subject to this review. Then, so then it goes on to say that you've got to adjust your privacy settings. Okay, you've got to adjust your privacy settings when you're going through this immigrant visa, the non-immigrant visa application process. They'd like for you to change your settings from private to public or open so that they could have access to your social media. Is, guys, this ties back to what we discussed last year. There were various policies that the State Department put out there. Trying to really understand your political mindset and persuasion and speech and things that are considered anti-American or un-American, right? Remember that, guys? They're really looking to see if you have things on Facebook and Instagram that they consider to be un-American, okay, or anti-American. They're No one really knows what that means. No one really knows. But this is what they're doing now. They've expanded it to more non-immigrant classifications. So be aware that if you're going through this process to get a visa, that your social media presence is going to be scrutinized. And then lastly, friends, the New York Times issued a deep dive into Stephen Miller, right? You know him to be the architect behind a lot of the draconian immigration policies that we've seen since last year. And he's the deputy chief of staff, and he's also the Homeland Security advisor. So he's wearing multiple hats there. And the point that New York Times made is that he hasn't gone anywhere. Things appear quiet right now with immigration. Things seem almost normal in some ways, right? We're not seeing as many masked men going through the streets of our neighborhoods and attacking people, right? With their presence and their bullying and their guns and all of that, right? We're not seeing that. But as I've been saying, and as you've been reading, it's all about politics. This is a very heated political season, and the White House has realized that those tactics are very unpopular, and so they're just toning things down publicly, right? We can't see a lot of that aggression. Although us immigration lawyers, we see it and we feel it in our practice, the pushback is incredibly strong, and that hasn't changed. But what has changed is what the American public sees. So now New York Times says, well, just because we're not seeing a lot of things these days doesn't mean that the chief architect behind all of these policies isn't still there and isn't still working. And really what he's working on is his big goal to have a moratorium on immigration from third world countries. So it's a policy focus on pausing immigration from third world countries, and that's really the main goal and main mission. And we see this being played out currently through the 75 immigrant visa pause, as well as the 39 country USCIS adjudication pause. And there might be more. There might be more policies coming. New York Times has said that that is still his goal, to lower or to stop immigration from third world countries. So, with that being said, there is the article mentioned public charge as well. The fact that they're doing a final review of the rules to make public charge analysis even harder, which means that fewer people will be able to pass the public charge test to prove that they will not become dependent on the welfare system in the United States. So that policy is going to be coming out very soon, and he's looking at it. And Miller's signing off on it, and they're going to do something really, really bad, really tough. And so maybe they're going to, who knows, they might even extend the a pause beyond the 75 countries. I don't know, but he is still there and he is working on decrease in immigration or the flow of people into the United States from what they call third world countries. Now, with that being said, continue to fight, continue to push back. I have some great stories that I filmed for you guys this weekend that we're going to be publishing this week. So stay plugged in and encourage yourself and focus on your immigration journey, because at the end of the day, when you have a good case, that good case can be won and you can obtain the victory, okay? So do not be discouraged about filing your case if you're eligible to file your case. Hello there, guys. Come on in. Let's switch gears now and talk about some of the questions that you have. What is on your mind today? Freedom Now, guys. One of my colleagues, I believe, is moderating today's session. And he's in the chat here, I think, on maybe YouTube. And he's sharing some great information. He shared the link to our newsletter, mcbeanlaw.com/subscribe. Okay. Thank you. First question, which is the top question that I've been getting in DMs and everywhere I am. And it is this. And I'm only going to address this question once on today's show. When will the 75 country visa pause be removed? When will that be over? The number one question. And the best answer that I have for that is I don't know. No one knows. It's indefinite. No one knows when they're going to pull back on this 75 immigrant visa pause. But keep in mind, however, what I said about Stephen Miller and the fact that the Times is reporting, New York Times is reporting that he is, in the process of signing off on the new public charge rules. So we'll see if they're going to, if once the rules come out, whether they're going to lift the pause at that time, because again, this 75 immigrant visa pause is connected to the public charge, the new public charge rules, or the rationale. They've made that connection. In any event, no one knows for sure when this is going to happen, and we have geared up through our lawsuit for our plaintiffs in we're doing 52 country immigrant visa pause lawsuit, and we're going to get that lawsuit filed over the next several days. All right. Thank you, guys. Freedom Now. Freedom Now. If you're just joining, double tap the screen on TikTok and say hello. I'm at my office today, and it's a beautiful day here in White Plains, New York. Thank you for being with me. Let's go into your questions. Let's see. Is waiting 2+ years for removal of conditions normal nowadays? Mosba is asking on Instagram. Is waiting more than 2 years normal? Yeah, I would say yes. I think with the removal of conditions, yes, the government gives you 48 months. Thank you for that. The government gives you 48 months as an extension. And the way I've seen it in practice, guys, is some people are approved in under a year. Some people are approved in year 3, year 4. So it's hard to say, but yes, definitely, I think things are slowing down, right, across the board in some ways. Marriage cases are still moving, by the way, minus marriage cases. Marriage cases are progressing fast for some people. But removal of conditions, it's all over the map as far as timeline is concerned, all over the place. Let's go. Thank you. Um, is it worth it Is there still an American dream? Someone asked, I think, a question like that on TikTok. That's not, um, it is whatever you make it to be. Okay, if you have that dream, that's your dream. If you don't have that dream, well, you don't. Okay, yes. Um, Hello there, Georgia. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, my husband is from Guatemala, and he had his 601 approved, waiver approved. What can we do? Let's see. Can't see this. What can we do so we could see if we could get a work permit for him and permanent residency in the United States? He's still in the US. Well, normally, it's obviously through the adjustment of status process. That's where the work permit comes from when he's going through, I don't know, maybe a marriage case through you. You said that this is your husband, Iris. I would be curious to know more about his background and why the 601 was filed and approved, and you're asking a question about whether he could get his green card here in the United States. Normally, you know, if someone is slated to go overseas to the U.S. Embassy to finish the process, the 601 is filed after they leave the United States and interview at the embassy. So I'm not clear on your facts there. Happy to learn more through a consultation. Um, Someone is asking me a non-immigration related question. What software do you use for live streaming? I'm setting up a video portion in the media ministry at the church that I attend. Okay, so for live stream, I use Ecamm. I still use Ecamm. I've been an Ecamm girl for years now. Don't like the other ones. I occasionally, for other reasons, use the other ones. StreamYard, I think. It has its capabilities too. Riverside, I really like, but I use that only typically for podcasting. But for streaming on YouTube and it- Facebook, I use Ecamm. I need to get a link here. I need to really start promoting them. Let's go, guys. Freedom now. Is the pause lifted? The USCIS pause has not been lifted. No. I've discussed the 75 country pause at the start of today's session. That was the first question I addressed. Okay. How can I apply for a waiver in order to request a visa outside of the United States? How can I request a waiver in order to request a visa outside of the United States? So it sounds to me like you're here in the US, and normally it's the I-601A for to attack the issue of unlawful presence. If that's what you're referring to, then there's another waiver, I-212 waiver, but we would need to understand about your eligibility for a green card and how a waiver is connected to that eligibility. Freedom now, guys. Let's wake up. Come on, freedom now. Type in freedom now. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Get in our stories and be plugged in to what we are doing here. What should I do when my asylum case says no future hearings for this case? Well, the court is probably shuffling some things around docket wise. Maybe you need a judge assigned to your case. I'm not sure what's going on there. But it's kind of challenging to know what to do in a circumstance like this without knowing more facts about your case and what brought. I'm assuming that it was a failed asylum case at USCIS that maybe placed you in removal. We would want to assess really what is the strength of that asylum case, and do you have a different way Do you have a different pathway? Is there something else that you can do? And maybe try to dismiss the removal case and have you shifted back to USCIS for relief, a green card, but only if you have that pathway. If it's just a regular asylum case that doesn't have any merit, there's nothing that is there to really get you that approval, then I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't do anything further with that case. Well, me, okay, I wouldn't touch it. All right, let's go. Freedom now. You guys are asking some great questions. Let's see. Let's touch this. It says, um, I've been waiting on my oath ceremony for 2 months, over 2 months now. What should I do? What country are you from? Are you from one of those 39 countries that USCIS has placed an adjudication hold on your application process? And if so, then they're not going to move you or progress you to the oath ceremony until that pause has been lifted off of your application, which you can try to do through a lawsuit. Um, now, if you're not from a 39 country, we would have a discussion with you, a consultation with you to find out how things went on the interview, to learn more about your immigration history and past, to uh, kind of get an idea of what USCIS is looking at right now, why there's a delay in your case. And depending on what we think and find, we might tell you, well, I think you should just give it some more time. And then once you hit a certain point, then we need to file a lawsuit on your behalf, a mandamus, to force that next move. So have a meeting with us one-on-one so that we could really figure out how we could assist you maybe and what's going on there with your N400 process. Freedom now. Freedom now. Okay, let's go. Thank you. Um, let's see. Let's keep going. There are a lot of questions, the same question about the 75 country ban. I've already addressed that, so I'm just scrolling down. And if you are spamming us, just know that we're gonna need to Uden. We've got to get him out of the chat. We've got to get him out, please. If you hadn't already gotten him out. Um, let's see. Is there any news on the U visa based I-485? I filed it in December of 2024. I don't have any news about anything related to the U visa. All I know that could potentially be slowing down cases at USCIS is the 39 country pause, and they are just coming out of the pause that they had on all asylum applications, which they've partially listed that pause. Let's keep going. But as far as the timeline is concerned on the 485 related to U visa, I haven't heard anything unusual is going on there. Is it safe to travel abroad after filing the I-751 removal of conditions if I obtain a re-entry permit first? I plan to submit a cover letter with my I-131 explaining my travel reasons and U.S. ties. So my question to you is, how long are you planning on being outside of the United States, first of all? Um, With your I-751 removal of conditions application or petition pending, you can travel. You can leave the United States. You don't need to go through the permit process. But my question really is, how long are you planning on traveling? Normally, people file the permit application if they plan to stay outside of the United States for a year or longer. With removal of conditions, can't do that. You should not stay outside of the United States for a year or longer. You need to be here in the US, particularly as you're getting closer to a decision. You do not want to be outside of the United States and they deny your removal of conditions case. You can still come in, an attorney can help you. We've done that before. It's hard to do, but it's a hassle. So you can travel generally on that extension, but do not stay outside for a very long time. Can a green card holder marry an immigrant and petition for them? Yes, a green card holder can do that, and this is a good time for that actually because things are moving in the category called the F2A category. So yeah, now is a good time to file for your spouse if you're a green card holder. Is Jamaica still on the ban list? Yes, Jamaica is still banned, along with the other 74 countries on the pause list. Let's see, let's go down. Thank you for the gifts. I do see them coming in, I think, and some double tap the screen on TikTok. Thank you so much for being here today. We're going through some immigration questions because immigration is hard, and I'm here to answer some of your questions. Let's see. Ethiopia is in the house. Thank you. Thank you for the double taps. I left a message on I'm not sure what that means. I have let me, jeez, this is so fast. Let's go back up. I got a 221G form at my interview, Mia, it says. So, Mia, you've been placed in administrative process. In which country are you from? Are you from one of the 75 that are paused? If you're from one of those 75 countries, then the pause will need to be lifted off of your application in order to get through. If you're not from one of those countries, then you could certainly reach out to us for a consultation so that we could see what is the reason that they've placed you in administrative processing and what can be done to get you out so that you could get a visa. Okay. Hello there. Let's see. I'm from Haiti. I have a green card, but it has expired. I would like to know if I can renew it. Yes, you can. Renew your green card. Renew your green card. They will you could submit your I-90 form. Submit that I-90 form. Now, uh I'm trying to think though with regard um yeah, go ahead and do that. I'm trying to think through really how they're treating that I-90 right now, actually. But yes, if guys, the thing is this, despite the fact that there is an adjudication pause, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't still get your application in and get things moving. You have a right to still file. Okay. And if the government traps your application, really it's a trap, traps your application in this adjudication pause, well, that's something that you need to work with an attorney on it to be very aggressive to get you out of that, so that you could get to the point of final adjudication. Okay. If there's an application there that has been trapped. Um, How will your lawsuit help people who are from one of the 75 banned countries? So our lawsuit is making one ask of the government. It's an injunction that we're filing, and we're asking that the government lifts takes this policy away, moves this policy off of the application, the visa process, and I should say, of those who are part of our lawsuit. This is not a class action to apply to everyone. Organizations out there, they have their class action filed. This is only for our named plaintiffs in the case, in our filing. And so if an individual has has gone to an interview and the embassy has given that person an exit letter saying, I'm sorry, we cannot issue the visa today because of this pause, those people are eligible to join our lawsuit. Those people are part of our lawsuit, I should say. Also, part of our lawsuit are just anyone who has reached documentarily qualified stage. Okay, because once you get to that stage, the ball is out of it's not in your court anymore, so to speak. The government has to continue acting, of course, on your process and treat your application on a case by case basis, the merit of what you have put in front of that U.S. embassy, and say yes to you or no to you based on your application. But get you to that point, certainly, and treat you fairly based on the merit of your application. That's what this is all about. So that's our target. That's what the injunction is all about. That's what we're aiming to do for our plaintiffs. Um, If you had a long and difficult adjustment of status case and you're now qualified for citizenship, should you apply for U.S. citizenship given that they are now going back in time to check your immigration history? So during normal times, the risk level was very low um, to um, to really pull out things from the closet from back in the day that they had already forgiven you about. Okay, let's say they've forgiven you for whatever the issues were, right? Those issues were fully adjudicated during the green card process. During naturalization, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't go back in time and try to hurt you with old information. Today, it is more of a mean-spirited approach. Mean-spirited approach that we're seeing at USCIS, not just us, but others across the country. And you know what you're seeing. It's mean-spirited, meaning that, oh, it's game. I see that this bad thing from the past is on the record. I might want to bring it up, possibly, um, bring it up and see what he has to say about it again. It's possible. Now, if you have a situation that you're concerned about because maybe during the green card process, you hid some information, you omitted some of the truth, and you just did. Okay, for whatever reason. And now you're going to try citizenship. I would say you've got to be very careful with that because the government is really drilling down, okay? And things that you've omitted in the past through technology and data, the government finds a lot of things that you didn't think that they would find. Freedom now, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on TikTok. I'm not confident how the lighting looks on your end. I hope it's bright enough. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Double tap the screen. Let's see what's going on here on Instagram. Come on in, say hello. Let's see, let's go down a little bit here. Someone says, I filed for VAWA in 2020. I got my first work permit and travel document in 2022. And now it's 2026 and I still have not gotten my green card. Is that normal? So the way that I'm reading this timeline, you filed a VAWA case 6 years ago, right? 6 years ago. That is a long time, really, to be waiting. Did anything happen along the way? Did they send you requests for evidence along the way? Um, what's going on there? there something is happening there that I'm curious, any lawyer would be curious about. You could have a one-on-one discussion with us, but I don't think that's normal. It's usually 3 years for a VAWA decision. Okay, let's go down here. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Y- yes, you should be able to travel. This person says, let's see, where is this person from? Nigeria. Here you have a Nigerian. He had an oath ceremony that was scheduled and canceled in January. And he has his green card, expired green card with the renewal extension letter. Can he travel for a funeral? This is touchy. This is Nigeria. It is still the travel ban is out there. It doesn't apply to residents. Of course, it doesn't apply to you. So technically speaking, you can travel and return to the United States safely. Because again, the travel ban does not target green card holders. Okay, you're a resident, despite the fact that USCIS has held on to your trapped, right? We got to get you out of that trap at USCIS, but that pause has nothing to do with your ability to return to the United States as a resident. Okay, freedom now, guys. Is denaturalization, I haven't thought about that in a long time. Let me give it a shot here. Is denaturalization possible on post-naturalization crimes? So, post-natural, generally, no. Generally, that's not usually it. They can't go after an individual who is a citizen who commit a crime as a citizen. Okay, as a citizen. So, no. But if you had committed a crime or you had committed naturalization fraud, when you were applying for naturalization, certainly they can go after that individual to denaturalize them. I have so many ambitions and aspirations, guys, along the way to talk with you guys about various things. And I do see denaturalization content and topics come across my desk that I want to discuss with you, including some of the more recent cases from the government of individuals who they have gone through the denaturalization process with. The people who I've seen targeted by this administration for denaturalization largely are individuals who have committed a crime, a serious crime, and the U.S. Attorney's Office, connects back with DHS. And then they dig deeper to find out what happened during naturalization. Did this crime for which this person is now convicted of, um, when did it happen, number one, and did that person disclose that crime or offense during the naturalization process? And if they didn't, then it's a very easy process to go after them for denaturalization. For some people, they might even get 10 years in prison. It just depends on the nature of things. For other people, they won't have any prison time, but what they will have is what will happen is they would just lose their citizenship and go back to the status that they held before that. Then for some others, they might even be placed in removal proceedings after the denaturalization process. So I've been wanting to speak more on that topic because I find it really, really fascinating. But the day-to-day grind doesn't always allow for that. Let's go. Yes. Let's go down a little bit. Can a green card holder, oh, okay. Can a green card holder file for her underage children in the US? Yes. Let's try to get a different person here. Does being married to a US military member help me? get a visa if a country is under a visa ban. There's um, there's no connection or exception that I've seen based on affiliation, um, family ties, I should say, to someone who is in the military. I haven't seen that with regard to the visa pause. I haven't seen that. Freedom now, guys. Freedom now. Let's see. Double tap the screen there on TikTok. Let's go here. Okay, you guys are moving so fast on TikTok. It's kind of hard to keep up with you, with your comments. My gosh. Let's see. Um, My wife had an adjustment of status interview last July. No green card yet. Can we hire you? We could certainly talk about what happened at that interview and what's on her record and what could potentially be holding things up. And we could see how we could assist you and your wife. Thank you, guys. Um, If you're married to a green card holder for 5 years and the I-130 is still not approved, what could be holding it up? Well, what I would want to know is how long has that I-130 been pending? You've been married, okay, for 5 years. So you've said here, how long, the bigger issue is how long has that petition been pending? Because, your spouse is you're in a preference category there, and it is a little slower in the preference category. Um, all right. If one is from the travel ban countries trying to adjust status, if he or she, if, guys, it says if, okay, if he or she is called in for an interview, please, what's the outcome? Would they approve the green card but not issue it? Um, Final adjudication means no decision. No decision would be reached. Okay. What we've been seeing in practice is that these interviews are being canceled. And for those who had showed up in January when the pause was very fresh and new, those individuals were told at the interview that there won't be any interview today because of the pause. So, if you're called in for an interview during the pause, then they will not still advance your case to the end, to the a decision point. Okay. Freedom now. Okay. Okay, let's go here. Okay. Let's see. Goodness. Let's go up here. I'm from Haiti. I was interviewed and got approved since October, but never received my papers yet. So this person, you're caught up in that awful pause. You're caught up. I hope you had joined our lawsuit. Um, it's unacceptable what they're doing. Um, Thank you. Some people are sharing scriptures with me. I see them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You could find my preaching content in my stories. Let me just give a plug for my contents. Um, I've answered that one. Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan, I believe, is also on the list, right? The USCIS list. Someone is asking me a question about that. Um, am I wrong about this one? Oh, Uzbekistan is on, I think it's on the other list. I don't see it here on the 39. I'm wrong about that. My apologies. Oh, are you are you an LPR when the I-485 is in case approved status? Um, okay, so have you gotten a letter saying that your case has been approved? Thank you for that. Have you gotten a letter saying that they've approved your case? And have you gotten a green card yet? That's really what's important there. I'm not sure what, you know, you have an update there, it sounds like from maybe the could be USCIS system, which I've never accessed, by the way. I have no idea what it looks like from your side of things. Um, or a track-in app. Can a green card holder, nope, not another one. I've already answered two of your questions, and there are a lot of people here waiting. How long does it take to process the Form I-824? In practice, usually it's like 8 months, 8 to 10 months for that one. I would like to know how long after your case has been approved will you receive the green card in the mail? Usually within a matter of days, just a matter of days. It usually happens very quickly. Okay, you're very welcome. I like it when people circle back. Thank you, Awino, for circling back. Um, I'm an American. My wife is from Nigeria. USCIS has put in an interview notice. Should I get a lawyer? I think yes, but you remember, as I've shared with you, what I shared earlier is that they will not allow, unfortunately, the case to go all the way to the final adjudication at this time. Is it risky to file a petition for my overstayed dad? Um, this is an immediate relative filing process. Could be very straightforward if your dad doesn't have a complicated immigration background. Let's go down here a little bit. Let's see. My friend is married to a U.S. citizen. My friend is married to a U.S. citizen, but he did apply for his adjustment of status. Okay, great. What's the question? What's the question? Can I have your number? Sure, the number is in the Instagram app there in the bio page, but it is 914-898-9488. Um, should I reschedule my green card interview at Rio? Um, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Rio de Janeiro, since the pause is still on. Um, So, one thing that you can do is this. It's too late for you, obviously, but for some people out there, this might help. If you still have control over your case at the National Visa Center and it has not yet reached the documentarily qualified stage, you could let it not get to that stage because. When you're part of the 75 ban list or immigrant pause list, if you go all the way up to your interview, they're going to give you that exit letter telling you they're not going to issue the visa. And then I don't know, it's indefinite. So we don't know how long this is going to last. And if you're in this process of admin processing too long, the embassy will ask you for some fresh evidence. You'll have to do all of this, some of the work all over again and pay additional fees to do your medicals and all of that, police clearance and everything that they require of you. So that's one strategy. If you already have an interview scheduled, you can finish up that process and you could, if you say, okay, well, I'm going to reschedule it. I don't know how the embassy is going to actually treat that. You can try. You can certainly try to reschedule it. I don't see any big harm to that. But you won't have any control, of course, over the date that they will next give you. But you could certainly try. I don't see any harm with that. All right. Great questions today. Go down to something different. Let's see, Freedom Now. I'm not sure how long it's taken with the appointments in Honduras. What do USCIS usually ask for when requesting an RFE for a 601 waiver? So first of all, that RFE is gonna tell you what they're asking for. Are you saying that it's an RFE telling you submit the I-601 waiver? Because it could be that. And then you'd have to prepare the waiver along with evidence proving extreme hardship to your U.S. citizen spouse or parent, U.S. citizen or green card holder parent or spouse. So the letter itself tells you what they're looking for. And then if it is for the 601 waiver that they want, then you've got to check the instructions on that waiver itself and try your best to meet those requirements. We're talking about U.S. immigration today. I'm answering your questions briefly. I'm an immigration attorney, and our phone number is in the page that you're joining from this afternoon. Thank you so much for sharing this live session. If you're joining on Facebook, share it with others so that they could get some information today. Um, um, how long is it taking for approvals of I-130? I submitted an application for my stepson in August and nothing has been done yet. I am a U.S. citizen. Some I-130s are moving very slow, very, very slowly. For some people, it is happening. They're getting their I-130s are being approved after a year and a half. So it just depends on, where it's being processed. But I have seen we do a lot of marriage cases here at McBean Law. And for the cases involving adjustment of status, I do see that the I-130s move quickly in that context. Okay. Kind of wish I had a big chart here in front of me or screen with the time processing questions. And I just hit a button and it just tells me we need to develop that to make it easier for me. Thank you. Do I think a decision, do you think asylum decisions could happen maybe this week? People are being interviewed right now. Things are happening now again with asylum cases. Um, for those who are who are not part of the 39 country ban, their asylum cases are moving, some of them. Others are still just waiting. And then certainly cases are moving in immigration court. Okay. Um, let's see. Does all the I-485 required an interview, even if the I-130 was approved without an interview? Okay, so here you have someone who says that my I-130 was approved without an interview, and I'm now curious about whether the 485, I could be interviewed in that context. It's possible for them to call you in for the 485 interview. I know that they are calling most people in who are trying to do adjustment of status. Okay, interviews are back for very many people now. Travel ban. Yes, that's the reason, because of the travel ban. Um, Put this up on the screen. Again, we're reachable at 914-898-9488 for a private one-on-one meeting with an attorney. And I'm often asked what can you still take my case if I have another lawyer? And I say it depends on if there's something for us to do. Is there a scope of service that we could offer? Can we start off by requesting your records from the government and gearing up for the next step? Or should you take your case in a different strategy? These are issues that we really flesh out when we meet with you during a consultation, and then we can just take over from there. Any news about people getting detained during their interviews? Um, as of late, what have we seen? Um, Most of our clients are not haven't we're not they weren't detained at the interviews. We I would say that we just had a handful. Um, Not very many were detained. What am I hearing around the country? Um, at the interviews, I do know that USCIS has that practice of trying to set some people up, people who have marriage fraud allegations on their record, primarily, people who have fraud, other kinds of serious fraud on their record could potentially be at risk, and certainly individuals who have a removal order, biggest risk when you're going in for an interview at USCIS. But most everyone else, I have not been hearing anything like alarming as of late. Last year was just terrible and crazy. But as of late, I haven't been hearing too much about arrest during the interviews. There are other immigration lawyers who are live each week as well. And you should watch their shows and hear what they have been experiencing. Let's see. Vowel filings, yes, have slowed down. A processing, it looks like, has slowed down from what you guys have been sharing here. Does the pause impact Iranians? Where did I see that question? Iranians with the N400, yes, it impacts Iranians from start until finish of the immigration process. And I have seen things that you guys have shared with me, particularly plaintiffs in our 39 country lawsuit. I do see the emails. Thank you for sharing things that you're seeing out there. Those get forwarded to me, and I have seen some of the information you have shared with me. So thank you very much. How long does it take for asylum cases to be processed? It can take years, several years for many people, several years. Okay. Although if in immigration court nowadays, some courts are moving up the hearings, they're changing the hearing, moving the hearing dates to a closer date so that you could, get a decision in your asylum case or whatever the application is that you have pending. Okay. Um, What is the best time? When is the best time to file for naturalization? So I still maintain the position that now is still a good time for that. That's what I was saying a lot last month in March, that March was naturalization month for us here at McBean Law. And so if you have a naturalization case and you're eligible for it, become a U.S. citizen so that you could free up yourself from this immigration system. Let's see. Uh, let's go here. Of the 75 banned countries, have you recently had any cases approved with and visa approved? No, they're not doing it. They're not issuing the visas during this time, during the pause. Um, that's why we're suing. That's why we're suing them. Let's see. Guatemala. Let's pull this one up here. And I don't know if my colleague who is moderating can take a look at the 75 country list for me real quickly in the chat. And let me know about Guatemala. I think it is on the list, right, of the 75. I don't have that in front of me. It is not a USCIS banned country. So this person is asking about the I-601A. The I-601A is an application that is processed at USCIS, and it is not being held up for Guatemala. Okay, but I do think that, but on the visa side, it could be a problem. I'm just waiting to see if my colleague had shared that information. Okay, guys, this has been great. Thank you so much for being with me today. Um, it's hard right now with immigration, but people are still getting through. Good things are still happening. So to file your case, get a good case in with the government, give it your best shot. Try your best. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you very much. Give it your best shot. Work with a team who you like, know, and trust, and dig deeper. Do your research. Ask tough questions, of course, and stick with it. Stick with it. Okay. So yes, Guatemala is on the 75 country ban list, but that will not impact your processing of the I-601A application at USCIS. Guys, we're reachable at 914-898-9488. We're here for you. Book a paid consultation, meet with us in person or by Zoom or by telephone so that we could dive deeper. If you're a plaintiff in one of our lawsuits, check your email. I did send you guys an email. The plaintiffs in the 39 country lawsuit, I sent you an email on Saturday morning, written on Friday night, very late at night on Friday. I wanted to make sure you got it bright and early on Saturday morning. The 75 country lawsuit plaintiffs, you're from 52 countries. We're just tackling 52. You're going to hear from us this week. By the way, if you have not yet submitted your declaration to us, to our team, please get it in today. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was wonderful being with you. Stick around all week and follow me on social media, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.